Now, John Brogden is the CEO of the Financial Services Council, which represents the retail and wholesale fund management side of the business. John Brogden, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, by all accounts, you're pretty happy with what Minister Shorten is proposing today.
Well, the package has to be tested against the government's own twin objectives. When the then Financial Services Minister, Chris Bowen, announced this package almost exactly 12 months ago, there were two objectives that he wished to achieve. The first one was that financial advice be of higher quality. Now, I think he has achieved that outcome. I think financial advice will be of a higher quality. The other objective was that it be more accessible and more affordable to more Australians. Now, unfortunately, he's failed to achieve that, and these reforms will drive up the cost of financial advice to the Australians who actually need it.
You have negotiated some concessions. Does that mean there'll be no more lobbying to water down these reforms? I'm thinking particularly with the crossbenchers, of course.
Yeah, well, we have been able to get some negotiations that we think are wins for consumers and, of course, wins for the industry. What we want to make clear to the government is we will continue to see benefits in this package. We will continue to fight for anything that reduces the cost of advice. We will continue to lobby the government and the Parliament, and I include the opposition, the Greens and the crossbench independents, to get a better outcome and get cheaper financial advice.
Let me pick you up on this issue. I mean, you've got a problem with the ban, the proposal to ban commissions on life insurance inside super, but not outside of it. But if you've already got the client on retainer, if they really want insurance, why shouldn't they pay for it? It's tax deductible anyway for you, isn't it?
Life insurance will be tax deductible if people take it inside their superannuation, but there will also be, instead of a commission paid by the product provider, there will be a fee paid by the client. So whilst it's cheaper because you get a tax deduction, when you add in the fee that you pay the advisor, it will probably be more expensive than paying for it outside your superannuation product, but with commission included. So it doesn't make sense to us that exactly the same product advised by a financial advisor is paid for differently depending on whether it's inside or outside your superannuation. It's confusing, and the real risk is that it will simply result in fewer Australians taking the insurance that they need.
OK, well, the government has put a blanket ban on volume rebates. Now, you've got a last-minute concession in that area. Can you explain that?
Well, what the government first suggested is there'd be a complete ban on volume rebates. We have been able to negotiate a concession from the government where they will continue to allow fund managers, and that's the $1.8 trillion fund management industry in Australia. Fund managers will continue to pay rebates to platforms or superannuation funds.
But volume rebates really are just another form of commission, though. You can't argue that they're not.
No. In fact, in this case, they're a discount.
It's still an incentive, though, isn't it?
Well, not really, not if it goes to the financial advisor. The financial advisor will be banned from receiving any of that volume rebate, and so will the financial advisor group. So there will be no concession. There will be no incentive for the advisor or the group to recommend a product.
Finally, John Brogden, financial planners that Andrew Robertson, our reporter, spoke to, argue that many of the consumer losses have been the result of product failure and not advice failure. Take mezzanine finance. And indeed that the body accountable should be you, representing the creators of many of these products.
Well, look, the collapse of Storm led to the Ripoll inquiry, which led to FOFA. So we're here today because of the collapse of Storm. The collapse of Storm was a collapse in financial advice. It was poor financial advice, in fact, illegal financial advice given by Storm.
Well, West Point is also mentioned in dispatches, and that was very much the issue of mezzanine finance.
But it didn't get on the platforms. The problem with West Point, it was a bad product, but it wasn't carried on platforms because it was a dog of a product. So there's no benefit in getting into fights between advisors and others. The reality is we're about to enter a new world of financial advice. It will be high quality. Financial advisors will be trained to a much higher level, and that's a great outcome for consumers. And it will, I think, begin to see the establishment of a relationship of trust between consumers and advisors. The downside is all of these changes mean the cost of advice to consumers, if you like, the sticker price will go up, and that's a bad outcome.
John Brogden, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.